Excellent, and welcome to the TAD Summit online conference. I'm really happy to have Andriy from PortaOne back on, and you can see he's in the office. I guess, is that Kiev in the background, or is it Barcelona in the background?
That's virtual. I'm in Barcelona, but my real background is not as pretty. The company is based in Vancouver, headquartered. I'm right now physically in Barcelona.
Gotcha.
I hope soon enough I will do my webinar from Kiev.
Excellent. No, that'll be great. So Andre is going to be talking around voice AI agents. So there's a lot of hype that's been going on, but the thing I love with Andre is he's very focused on just doing real stuff with CSPs. So what we're going to hear from, I think, is very practical, focused, and really looking forward to this session. So Andre, over to you. I'm really excited to learn about voice AI agents and CSPs.
Hello and welcome, everybody. I'm going to talk about voice AI agents and specifically why telecom operators they cannot miss this opportunity because that's their amazing chance to bring back the profits they haven't seen since probably early 2000
Yeah.
when people just started to fight with incumbent operators and provide alternative to people paying like $1 per minute for an international call.
Yeah.
My name is Andriy Zhylenko. I'm CEO of PortaOne. I'm also advisor and co-founder at WebTrit, which provides part of solution I'm going to mention later in my presentation. And since these AI tools and technologies, they appear every day and very difficult to keep track of them. Just very basics. We'll cover what it is, how it works, and why it is important, why CSP may benefit tremendously from deploying it. How it actually works, so how to put it in your system, how to deploy it with your existing infrastructure. And also frequently we see this new cool kids with the new technology, and that's great, but we have an existing operations. Your
Yeah.
cash cow may be a system which was put in production a few years ago. So the question is, how do we do something there? How we use it in conjunction with new AI features and not just having to replace everything with a great AI thing.
Yeah.
And what is the difference between AI tool that you play around and then kind of like forget about it? And there are plenty of those I tried in the last year. And the one which is actually going to stay, the one which will be used by your customers, which will make them happy and they will be paying for that and bringing you revenue. And
Cool.
how to connect it to existing VoIP systems, which may not be as brilliant and shiny as latest AI tools.
Yeah.
And notice because things change so fast. It may be actually I missed some of the existing technologies opportunities. Then let me know via email, or if you're watching this in a recording in 6 months, also do a bit of research because things may have changed.
Oh, yeah.
They change so rapidly.
Yeah.
Voice AI agent, it is a replacement for an real human. The main use cases, it can be replacement for an IVR. So we're used to press one for support, press two for sales with confusing menus. You never know which one to choose. It can talk in a real human language. It can serve as a consultant to talk about the product features. It can serve as a receptionist to help you to find the right person. It can help with troubleshooting the product. And there are real use cases, there are
Yeah.
real studies when it shows, when given, of course, access to proper information, knowledge base, customer information script, it actually delivers better results than the average human. It makes
Yeah.
less mistakes and it's more persistent, doesn't have like emotions and so on.
Yeah.
For
And it's
outbound
able to
call,
do those sort of complex things like organizing a meeting. And it's just schedule a potential client into a small business calendar. You would think, well, it's obvious. Well, no, the options, the difficulty in getting that organized. And again, this is a great example where an AI agent can help people get meetings into their calendars using a AI agent. But yeah, sorry, interrupting.
That's absolutely. And then the replacement for outbound calling. So cold sales or reminders or reminding people about the unpaid invoices, collections, upgrades, all kind of things. And again,
Yeah,
has the advantage, can do it 24/7. Well, maybe not 24/7 because we don't want to wake up people at night, but it can do the whole workday. It doesn't get tired. It doesn't get burnout from rejection.
yeah.
And the third option, it's was not as popular, and one of the reasons is because it's a bit more difficult to implement it. And I'm going to talk about it. It's when we need AI agent in the real phone call between persons.
Hmm.
In my Samsung Galaxy phone, there is a translator option which I can add to phone call, which also is not that reliable, that great as I expected it to be.
Yeah,
But there's more that could be useful. It can be a pre-sale engineer listening to the conversation with the customer and taking notes and maybe even advising you of whether your system can do this or not.
yeah,
It can be also can be translator, can be somebody who helps people to understand better each other. So the possibilities are endless. The most important thing that compared to some other features, this delivers a clear value to the end user because if you talk to a business owner and if you tell them, well, would you like to have a salesperson who will be working for 10 hours a day and who is proven to close more deals than your average person, salesperson would do, and you can train him not in 5 months to be proficient, but in one day by just providing all the PDFs with your documentation, with all
yeah,
sales email, with everything. Would you be willing to pay for it less than you'll be paying for hiring full, like real human?
yeah.
It's a no-brainer. People would agree to it because there's a clear value that can the end user will derive from the technology. So for CSPs, it's an opportunity to bring back profits because right now voice AI agents, they're not cheap. The price for when you go to companies who sell them on a retail basis, it's from 10 cents per minute, 20 cents per minute, or even more. There's a cost of course, AI model and the real-time conversations, the AI models, they're more expensive. There's additional expenses. But the good
Yeah.
thing is in that 20 cents per minute, there would be 1 or 2 cents of profit per minute for a CSP. For many telco operators, this is something that they haven't seen in 15 or 20 years.
Yeah.
And another advantage is that it's very easy to switch an operator for outbound SIP trunk. You just reconfigure your PBX to a different CPRI, and there you go.
Okay.
This thing, it requires more advanced setup, but it makes customers sticky. So they're more likely to stay with you and use your service for voice and for other things which you're already selling them. And also for CSPs, they're in a unique position because it is easy for them to upsell it because they already control phone numbers, they control cloud PBX configuration. All the things are there. It's just one small but very valuable thing which would appear there. So doing a kind of like white label sale of voice AI agents, it's a very clear and low-hanging fruit for CSPs to go for. How to do it? Well, the first method is kind of end user do it yourself. Strangely enough, that's the method which seemed to be mostly pushed by the companies who deliver voice AI agents. And in my presentation, I'll try not to promote any of them. I'm not affiliated with any particular one. I'll be using some of them as an example. Pick the one which is better for you. But the idea is that you have your cloud PBX, and then you just set up kind of SIP trunk to this voice AI agent system. So when it's a company A, they own a toll-free number, and they used to have an IVR. Now they replace the forwarding configuration for that number, and they send it to external platform. Customer dials in, the call is delivered to AI agent, which talks to the customer, does a conversation. Well, there are multiple drawbacks with that method. The configuration is not that easy. So it means if that customer A, if it's a company which sells construction equipment, their administrator now has to understand like the CPRIs and some other technical things. When things start to not work correctly on the SIP interconnect between the existing VoIP platform and the AI agent, it's very difficult to troubleshoot. And also, we did a few tests and interop with those platforms. The problem is most of the companies who developed those AI agents, they come from a totally different background. They had people proficient in machine learning. They had people proficient in web development. And now they're kind of like doing ad hoc adding SIP components. And they are repeating the same mistakes people did in early 2000s. So it sometimes it really did remind me of early days of voice over IP when they have to deal with SIP interconnect issues.
Yeah.
So it's not that easy. And this setup, because it's also kind of done separately somewhere by the customer, it is going to have the issue with like 5-minute bot. I will talk about it later. But the biggest drawback is the CSP doesn't get anything out of it. They don't get any new revenue. We don't get anything. And they just continue providing voice calls and kind of looking at their profits dwindle every month. So what's the alternative? There should be a new component introduced. So the idea is the CSP will be selling white label voice AI agents. They can sell it under their name. They can tell customers, honestly, this is XYZ, but we're giving you a better deal. The important thing is now when the call arrives to the platform, to your VoIP switch, in addition to just authorizing for toll-free inbound call, standard thing, it goes to a separate component which does a separate authorization and charge it, and this is for AI agent usage. And then it delivers the call to the platform which is out there, which belongs to XYZ. So what we have now, the configuration is going to be much easier because now the CSP controls this whole thing. They can add this AI agent configuration to their existing self-care portals. They can assist the customer with the configuration. They can make it as streamlined as possible. The customer will get a single bill, which will have all the activities for the regular calls and activities for the voice AI. And then CSP, basically, they will be doing a wholesale agreement with XYZ, and they will be earning the profit on each minute on every activity. And for outbound calling, it's very similar. Also, the campaigns are initiated from the outside, from the AI agent side. They come to this voice AI gateway. Again, we want to make sure that the customer who owns that number, who owns that campaign, they allow it to use the service. We'll put it on their bill. The calls will go to the prospects, and everybody is happy. And also, we did some testing. Some of the AI agent platforms, like 11 Labs, great company. I use them for 2 years now for voice generation, but they lack the actual campaign outbound calling capabilities. However, it's possible to do kind of ad hoc. You use an auto dialer or whatever tools you have been using, or customer have been using for doing campaigns, and you just connect one call leg to the prospect, another call leg you connect to this inbound call agent. The advantage is that we all know when you pick up the phone and there's a few seconds delay, it's most like a call center because on that side, they're waiting for human agent to pick the phone up. AI agent can pick up a call instantaneously. So there's going to be almost no delay. It will just go through. Gotcha. So it is actually even a better option there. And as before, its ability to earn profit on every activity and everything which is happening there with customers. How to create a voice AI gateway? Well, majority of companies which provide voice AI agents, they do support SIP interface right now. So in this case, it's just SIP to SIP communication, and you can pick your favorite voice over IP stack. There are plenty of them, and you probably know them, so I'm not going to try to persuade you into one or another. Sometimes it could be that the voice AI company, they have a proprietary API. For instance, OpenAI, they have WebSocket-based real-time API. There are a few specialized kits like LiveKit or Jambones, which you can use to do this
Yeah.
inter-protocol connection. Although, in my opinion, it's a bit not obsolete yet, but it's not going to be required because I think people realize, okay, like why invent something if there's a SIP have been used for decades, it works. So why don't just use it? But if
Yeah.
it happens that you do need it, there are some options.
Gotcha.
Some of the voice AI agents companies, they provide WebRTC interface, but I don't think it's suitable here because we're not connected end users. We're connected one backend system to another one. So
Yeah.
for WebRTC, I think it's going to be too complex to set up, and we should not be
Yeah.
going that direction. So what makes the difference between this AI agent that you play around and then you forget about it, and the one which is actually used and does something useful every day? When I played around with some of the AI agents, and the early versions, it was okay, you upload your PDF and then you give it a master prompt. Your support agents do this. The problem with this single prompt, and we'll learn this by now by chatting with ChatGPT or other systems. Sometimes it's unpredictable. Sometimes you expect something that gives a totally different result. So the more vague it is, the less uh, decent results you're going to get. So what is people realize? It has to be more like a low-code flow. You cannot just give one prompt. You have to control the flow. We
Yeah.
identify the customer. We identify the intent. Okay, here's our dialogue of flow for upgrading the product. Here's our dialogue for collecting the payment and so on. Funny enough, I played with 11 Labs about 6 months ago, ages, and they had this single prompt. Earlier today, I was preparing for this webinar. I went to 11 Labs. They have a flow builder.
Yeah.
So they did realize, okay, this it has to be there.
Yeah.
It needs to have access to the knowledge base. And also from the deployments which we did so far, the biggest problem actually, and that's also something kind of a source of professional services and also stickiness for the CSPs. Many customers like that construction building companies, they don't have a knowledge base available. They would need your assistance, guidance, or maybe some additional tools, how to extract it from the emails which they accumulated over the last years,
Yes.
how to use their PDFs, what are the sources of the actual product information they have, because it's very, very seldom that a company would have a beautiful web page which is well structured, which has all the information about the product.
Exactly.
And then, of course, the connection to PBX. Because yes, the agent can talk. What if customer is ready to sign up? We need now a live person to do validation or to sign the deal. If we don't do any transfers back to PBX, they cannot do it. If we just do it blindly, okay, well, we'll just allow the AI system to do the transfers. I'm pretty sure that soon will be people saying, well, AI system, connect me to the number plus, and then they will give, like I don't want to give any recommendations to bad people, but we all know what
Yeah.
happens when people get access to and being able to call some random numbers.
Exactly.
Not good to CSP at all. So we don't want this to happen. And of course, integrations. If it's a calendar appointment, it needs to know that the calendar is that there's a slot. If it
Exactly.
talks to a customer, it needs to know the customer name. If it talks about invoice, it needs to know the invoice number and the amount due and what
Yeah.
was the previous amount and when we did send the last payment. All these things. So it has
Exactly.
to be connected properly. So the kind of a bit of inconvenient truth is that creating a proper AI voice bot, it's not something you can do in 5 minutes. It
No.
takes time.
Yeah.
Some customers, or most of customers, they would not have enough expertise to do it successfully on their own initially. But it means, again, for CSPs or for system integrators or for consultants, it's an opportunity to provide the guidance and assistance. And once you do it, the customer is yours. They're going to stay, and most likely they're not going to make any change because it doesn't. Like, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. It's
No.
going to just work. And now talking about engaging AI agents into person-to-person call. So I'm calling a prospect, we're chatting, and now they're asking some deep technical question. I need to have this AI agent, which we have already. We configured everything's great, but it's there. How do you connect it to my existing call? And again, with this legacy system. And like legacy, it means something which is installed, something which works, which earns majority of revenue for a company. How do we use it there? And the options which so far people are using is okay, you configure your agent on some extensions, you do this three-way calling, you do transfers, you put this like yellow sticky note with the dialing codes on the monitor, and that's inconvenient. And also prone to errors because you don't want to an agent which was supposed to be whispering advices to you, you don't want it to connect it as in the conference mode to the conversation with the customer.
Mhm.
So the problem, how we try to solve it, that's where WebTrit comes in. It's okay. We have to use a soft phone, uh, which will allow to the end user to see the agents and to clearly control. I'm going to make an outgoing call by adding this agent in the whisper mode. I'm going to invite this agent to a call in the full conference mode. I'm going to do this. So it's clear visibility, and the agents should be managed only once per environment by PBX administrator, and then we will do the SIP connections. And a side effect, it potentially can be even used with systems with a like black box VoIP systems where normally you would not be even allowed to do CPRI configuration. Even for some reason, provider doesn't allow that. It's still possible to have it, or it's, it requires extra licenses or whatever.
Okay.
But it's possible to use it this way. So this provides a clean user interface for end users. And for WebTrit, our focus is on open source SDK for soft phone and web dialer.
Mhm.
So you can just take it and rebrand it and use it, or you can use it as a foundation to build a tool which will be custom tailored to whatever is happening, because maybe it's a solution where uh, you are using these agents for customer consulting, or you're doing the configuration of agents comes from different places. So it's easy to add additional components and customize it. And to summarize, we CSPs, we stand at the possibility to earn profits which we haven't seen in many years, because there is going to be service which is easy to sell to virtually any company which requires at least some type of inbound or outbound communications, and it's pretty much everybody. In order to create a real value delivering voice agent, we need to have a fine-grained control of the flow. It needs to have access to data, such as knowledge base or customer information, and it needs those integrations through N8N, Make.com, APIs, but it should be able to access and change the data in the outside world, because only then it will become truly useful. Because if we can create an agent which will insert new record and custom order in CRM, so then it's automatically activated, that's a totally different story than just somebody has to come in and type it manually.
Mhm.
And creating those bots, it is, you do need to spend some time. You do need
Exactly.
to have assist the customer, but this is your investment into the fact that customer is going to be going to be happy, and they're going to be staying with your service. So they're not just going to switch to somebody else next month.
Yeah, and I think
And
that's the challenge I see for CSPs is, I mean, I look at it as it's helping them develop a tighter, stronger customer relationship because they're integrating the tool and they're, helping them, I mean, some of it is just basic housekeeping in terms of, well, do you have this type of PDF that describes this, feature or these capabilities? And getting that access to the information, keeping it current, and doing that integration so that the agent is expert on the customer's information so that they can answer without hallucination. That I see as a for those CSPs that have an integration arm, that have a professional services division. For example, I mean, I've seen it with wholesale groups where they do have some you know, system integrators that can get these agents up and running for businesses. I see CSPs as willing. When the CSP takes a step back and says, well, I need a partner to manage that, then it starts to get a little bit more complex because then you've got, well, is the project big enough? Especially for a lot of small, medium businesses, these are tiny projects. It's almost like, you just need somebody to hold your hand for like a couple of hours to understand what it is you've got, where your data is, and then to get that up and running and integrated. So it's delivering a good enough solution. It doesn't have to be perfect because you can always fall back. So I guess the challenge I'm seeing at the moment with a lot of voice AI agents is, CSPs being just willing to work with the customer to get this integrated into the customer's situation, rather than everything's done at an arm's length and it just works by magic. So I'm just trying to. I see a problem here, but I'm not sure there's a clear answer to get CSPs involved and creating that sticky relationship for helping their businesses get these agents working.
True. And also my recommendation is that for CSP, they should start first by creating some AI bots for themselves.
Yes.
So they get enough internal expertise. They understand
Yes.
how it works. They understand what's possible, what's not possible.
Yes. Yes.
And after that, for professional, again, to guide somebody through it, indeed, it can be like they do like onboard in 1 or 2 hours and they get the
Yes.
customer. And the revenue for the customer in the next few months, it will compensate for the time of the person who did it. It's probably more than if they try to go and try to do it yourself. And then the customer, oh, look, it doesn't work. Why did this? Why did this? There are probably more time spent on troubleshooting.
Yes.
But yes, it is an issue. So
Okay.
it's something which needs to be CSPs need to be aware of, but I think it's solvable, and there could be multiple options for this based
Okay.
on the circumstances, based on
Understood.
the situation in the market.
Okay.
Yes, with WebTrit, we're trying to find a solution to help with the customized options to allow the connection to this legacy platform when
Yes.
we need to give user the better control of and visibility of AI agents.
Hmm.
And I would appreciate your input. If you just some new cool project which actually allows this task of connecting AI agents to your existing systems, makes it easier, let me know. Also, if you are developer of voice AI platform, which you would be interested to do a white label to CSPs, surprisingly, many of the large players in this field, somehow they don't understand yet. I don't know why, but they're like very reluctant to do this like proper white labeling. We spoke
Yeah.
to, I would say, most of the major players, and they're like, oh, we're not sure, which doesn't make sense to me because instead of trying to sell this like individually for each mom and pop store, you have a company which already has them as customers, already has some loyalty, already understands their configuration and can do it much
Exactly.
better.
Yes.
This may change, but so far it seems to be that there are opportunities for companies who have voice agent platform and are willing to go with like white label option through CSPs.
Yeah.
Of course, if some new technology developments in that area, which I should be aware that I can tell it to CSPs, tell it to our customers to work better.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you have a project also when you think you would need to have a technology and just not sure how to do it, you can send me an email. I will try to see if I can advise, if my team can advise, or if I have also like a local partner who can be
Yeah.
the right person to talk to.
Yeah.
And as I finish most of my presentations in the last 4 years, I'm originally from Ukraine. The war in Ukraine, unfortunately, is still going on, and we do need support of people of goodwill in the whole world to make sure it is ended and is ended in a way that there's going to be reliable peace and
Yes.
it's not going to happen again. Thank you very
Absolutely.
much.
Thank you so much, Andriy.